let's do it.
They're all chasing him, they're all chasing him.
Starmer! Two-tier policing! Starmer! It's 95% fighting age men. It makes no sense.
It's economic migrants.
I would just say open the doors, honestly. Anyone and everyone? Yeah.
How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my mortgage?
Hasn't really been spoken about when it comes to illegal migration and the recent protests in the UK. But after going to London, Nottingham,
The taxpayer doesn't pay for that.
and Middlesbrough, bloody hell, mate, you never really know who's going to show up or what's going to happen. It's even made me question whether protesting really makes a difference. But today, we're going to let Scotland have its say. Let's go. And since the last protest video about a month ago, over 1,000 arrests were made due to violent disorder. Even this week, a man was sentenced to 9 years in jail for setting a migrant hotel on fire. It just shows that violence is the answer, and I hope this one stays peaceful. And just in front of me in St George's Square.
Well, here, let me show you the protest that our friend Wesley Winter, I hope I pronounce it well, he recorded in the protest in Glasgow. That was 3 weeks ago, and they were protesting against immigration and all sorts of things that the media and Tommy Robinson talk about and get into people's heads without actually going deep into the point or the reasons behind. They have the scapegoat to blame because it's easier than actually going for the wealthiest and the powerful ones who are the one creating all this mess. Anyway, let's have a look and see what the people have to say.
You can see the protesters are out today. It seems like so far it's just like a Free Palestine or Stand Up to Racism protest coming together. But let's check it out. Let's see if we can speak to some people. Absolutely filled. Wow. Really busy. So you got like a Stand Up to Racism sign. Some guys on the mic, that's who you can hear yapping.
We have a shared duty to educate, to promote equality.
So what's your reason for coming today?
Because racism has no place in the modern society.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
What's happening at the minute in Scotland?
Generally, I think that we're beginning to realise exactly how deep the divides go and how we have to fix it. Like, this might be the first big march I've seen with this many people of all age groups.
Yeah, well, it seems like a lot of different groups are here today. What is like the main message for today?
Fuck a fascist. Neo-Nazis in Glasgow.
Right, are there a lot of them in Glasgow?
No, but we're just minding them, they're not allowed in.
Just make sure that they don't come. If they come, they know what they're facing. Fuck the fascists. They're not welcome anywhere. And if they come here, they will find anti-fascists in front of them.
Okay, alright, cheers, thanks so much. But this is what I'm talking about when you go to a protest and messages get lost. I've said this so many times. You've got a guy over here yelling on a microphone, and then just opposite, you've got a Free Palestine march over here.
You're still few.
Yeah, and you can't really hear what anyone is saying. People just come in with their signs, but I guess it's like volume and numbers, which is fair enough. But yeah, big turnout. I see you've got the Stand Up to Racism sign. What's your reason for coming today?
I think it's a disgrace that people are questioning people's right to live in the UK when the entire UK is built on people coming here, building lives. We went there first. I think it...
I mean, this is rather ridiculous. The UK, Irish, English, Scottish and Welsh people who went all over the place around the world, who were migrating to the United States and everywhere else, and Canada and Australia and New Zealand and bloody...
It's absolutely ridiculous to close borders now.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the argument is about illegal migration. Is there a way you can actually integrate them into society?
Absolutely, I see it all the time. We need to speed up the asylum.
What the fuck integration? How many immigrants we got in Spain who they fucking live in British communities? They've been there for 20 decades and decades, and they don't speak a fucking word in Spanish. The whole environment, the area, it becomes an English place just for them. Menus in English, the whole local in English, waiters in English. You go there, you speak in Spanish, and they don't know what you're talking about, and that's bloody Spain. Would you imagine what would happen if that happens here? Flooded of elderly people only speaking Spanish, making whole area of a city just for Spanish people in Spanish speaking. What would you say? Is that integration? Do you integrate in Spain? No, so shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You know, right?
Process to allow people to have their claims heard. 70% of those claiming asylum are successful, which means they have a valid right to be here. And the quicker that we integrate them into society, they can contribute as they want, the better.
Okay, yeah. But the funny thing is, if you're at a protest, there's a lot of people at mass here today. I don't know if this will actually stay peaceful. I don't know why you come here if you want to hide your identity, as we've seen at many protests around.
Because the police can smack your face if they catch you. On top of that, it's hygiene, health. In case you have a cold or anything like that, you get a mask. And if you want to cover your face, I think it's more with the balaclava. But anyway, the police is there and they want to catch you. They're gonna get you and they're gonna remove your mask.
Around England, let's have a look. Look at this guy. He's got a police horse here. So, what's your reason for coming today?
I'm coming here today because for my grandchildren.
Okay.
That's the reason only. To a safer country, safer Great Britain.
What's happening to Great Britain?
Well, look at them over there.
Okay, so the argument is for my grandchildren, to make my country great again with the Trump hat. And when they asked what's the problem, he pointed at people who are defending human rights. What's that woman thinking? Really? What is she thinking? Is she really thinking that the immigrants are harming her granddaughters or grandson or whatever? Grandchildren? Seriously? How? How? As far as I'm aware, most of the immigrants are all working. We are all working. We work a lot. If you go and see who's getting more benefits, immigrant people or native British people, let's see who the numbers are. Let's see who the numbers are. Who are the junkies you see in the streets? Are they British or the immigrants? Who are the ones stealing? Are they British or the immigrants? Let's see the numbers. Oh, but no, you only follow what Tony Robinson tells you and what the media tells you. The bloody Murdoch media.
That's the cause. Oh, I'm gone.
Well,
now they're going because something happens.
The street is.
And those pacifists from Britain.
Yeah, as you can see, the police are here on their horses. Wow. Complete different scenario, and that's what I'm talking about. Every city you go, you really don't know what's going to happen. Wow.
You see the attitude of the people on that side. That's the racist side. The other side, where the other people were much calmer, they were saying no fascist. They were saying immigrants welcome. They say let's improve the country. And these ones are all aggressive, confronting, saying no, not giving arguments. Well, that tells you a lot. Ahí vemos alguna mano al alza. Vemos aquí manitas al alzas, manitas al alzas, manitas al alzas, manitas al alzas. Oh, what are we looking at here? We're looking, raising hands. Are they calling a taxi? I think the angle is a bit odd. What's happening with that hand? What's happening with that hand? What's happening with that hand? That hand, and that hand, and that hand. Oh, are these pacifists? Are they looking for a better Britain? Or are they just bloody fascists? Are these bloody racists and bloody Nazis? And they just think that they have the right to kick everyone out and just impose their bloody Nazis idea.
Wow.
Maybe you've noticed, but there were quite lots of hands up, and they're not actually calling for taxis.
Stuff's getting thrown. I don't think it's going to stay peaceful at all. This side is getting kettled in at the minute. Wow, it's really close. It's not really separated. Bloody hell. let's get a better angle of this. Yeah, so you can see the police presence here on this side, and look at the wow, look at it all. Wow. Now, what's your reason for coming today?
It's like a protest against the government, and not just only immigration. There's so many things just now. Society's broken.
Right. What's happened in Scotland specifically?
NHS waiting times are ridiculous. There's lack of council housing.
Okay.
Education suffering. It's the whole system strained.
Happy days. I 100% agree with you, man. You were right in that sense. Immigration, leave it aside. If you go and actually address the problems you're talking about, the NHS, the housing, the education, and everything, happy days. Leave immigration aside. Focus on those points you were talking about. Who are the ones to blame to? The government. I've got a video about the taxation and who pays taxes and who doesn't. I will link it here so you can have a look at it. Because that's the problem. It's wrong distribution. The problem is inequality. That the wealthiest are getting wealthier and the poor are getting poorer. So now these people that are, everyone in that square is actually poor people. They don't have more than 10 million in the bank accounts. I bet they don't. So they're fighting the last one against the before the last one. Who is poorest? Oh no, I'm gonna take those pennies from you. No, those pennies from you. Because how would they be? No, they've been manipulated to do that. Rather than going, focusing on facing the actual rich people who's taking everything from them. The housing problem is not because of the immigrant people. Housing problem is because of the capitalism, because of the market, because of the speculation, because of landlord owning so many houses and just living off them. Increasing rents crazily when salaries are not increased at the same rate. So that's the problem. NHS, because they're taking money off from the NHS and giving it to the private healthcare. Schools, they're doing the same. They're favoring private schools against public schools. The worse public school it is, the worse those children off will be, the less competition will be with the wealthier children, and they will maintain the status quo and the wealth for the same ones forever. And that's what they want. The last one against before, last one confronting, when the wealthiest are just laughing and living off our salaries and our monies and our taxes. That's fucking what's happening.
Yeah. Wow. It's like he's shouting on the horse. So that man said that he's here to protest more against the government. It's not so much against the...
Well, that's what that man was saying, which I agree it should be. But let's listen to more some other people. Apart from the women we heard earlier on, that she was blaming the immigrants and the protest from Free Palestine.
Legal immigrants that we've heard before. But yeah, they're really getting settled in here. I guess they want to keep them in this square. Hey lads, I see your sign. It says asylum frauds out. What's kind of the message today?
It's the message.
Yeah.
Too many, want rid of them. That's the message. Too many, can't keep ourselves, don't mind them.
Too many what?
He is very sad, to be honest. Because he already thinks that he's certain that it's too many, they cannot keep up on them. When they're sending billions and billions to Ukraine, what do you think would happen if actually people would get taxed properly? And what do you think would happen if all the money sent to Israel or to Ukraine it stays here? What do you think if there's a proper distribution of wealth? What do you think if everybody gets properly taxed? What do you think about that? Don't you think there will be enough money and housing and everything and services for everyone? Oh, but that's not even what you thought about. And that's the problem, that your thought have been directed towards immigration and not towards the real problem. That's the problem.
You daft, but you hear football.
500 million cuts in Scotland this year. 500 million. Where school classes are over. Where education system's on its arse. The crime rates went up.
The state of the UK, it's getting...
Okay. Those are wrong. Let's just get back.
Our school classes are over. Our education system's on its arse. The crime rates went up.
Okay, and what was that immigrants to blame for? Can you tell me? Can you tell me who's robbing? Maybe it's poor people. Maybe it's not immigrants. Who's telling you that the poorest people are the immigrants? Because all the immigrants I know, they all work. All of them. And I know loads of British people who don't work, and I know, and I can see them on the streets, that they are just benefits or like junkies around. Don't get me wrong, of course there are immigrants that they might be like that, but what's the percentage? Because everyone who comes here tries to live a better life. You don't leave your bloody country just to come here and live out of what, £100 benefits a week, if anything? What do you live that with? No, thank you. That's not happening. It's in the schools. What's the problem in the school? Is that the government is not putting enough teachers in there? Is that they're not having enough schoolrooms? Is that there are not enough schools? What's that? What's the problem? It's not the immigrants, guys. It's not the immigrants. It's the government and the inequality that they are supporting and they are promoting.
The state of the UK, it's getting worse and worse by the month. And you've got these nutcases here. All they want to do is chant Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. Yet we're the ones on the side of the Jews. They want to erase the Jews.
Man! Now this one is talking about Israel and Palestine, and just because Israel was created after the Second World War, just because of that they're the good in this story, okay? So now, all they've done since 1948 until today, including thousands and thousands and thousands of people killed in Palestine, in Gaza, apart from illegal settlers, apart from bombarding, apart from lying, apart from giving money to Hamas and promoting Hamas so there would be a less stable government in Gaza, all of that was Israel who did it. Apart from all the killing and burning people alive, apart from destroying more than 80% of a country for no reason, they're the one defending themselves? They're the poor people? Ah, that's no right. Israel, if they did something wrong, I don't care what happened to their ancestors. Israel, Netanyahu and Zionism are destroying the Middle East. And they're creating a huge chaos, and they have been since they were created less than 100 years ago. And that's what they've been doing. So it's not about against Israel because of Israel, it's because of what they're doing. If Iran would be doing to Palestine what Israel is doing, people in that strait will be against Iran, not against Israel. But it's Israel who's doing that. So it's not about the name, it's about what they're doing. And that guy is just looking at but I support Israel. So they're the bad because they don't support Israel. Man, that's so simple analysis that you're wrong. That's the problem. When you have a simple analysis, then most likely you will be wrong.
To the planet, and they're coming here, they're bringing their politics about Palestine here. If you want to go and help and fight, go back to Palestine, go and fight.
No, man. If I want to help them, I can stay here. And I can fight against the government who's selling weapons to Netanyahu so they can keep and giving millions and millions so they can keep killing Palestinian people. But you can do a lot here, you don't have to go there.
For Palestine, but they want to exterminate the Jews, yet all their whole argument...
Nobody talk about exterminating the Jews, man. You buying bullshit, which is not true. It's not true. Jews are exterminating Palestinians. Jews are absolutely against Muslim people. Jews are the ones taking over the territory illegally and making settlements. Jews are the ones who are selling already petrol that belongs to Palestinians in Gaza, and they are selling it already even though that territory doesn't belong to them, to Israel. Israel is the one doing crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
We're the Nazis, it's crazy. These people are mentally ill.
Is this against the government or is it against illegal immigrants? Who wants to...
Against illegal immigrants.
The government are divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Man, you're saying it. They're dividing you. They're dividing you against the other ones. It's poor against poorer. The government is doing that on purpose, and the wealthiest people are doing that on purpose via the media.
But whose responsibility is it? Because they're coming in their thousands.
The government. Starmer. Two-tier policing. Starmer.
Glasgow City Council housing illegal immigrants before their own.
But what's the solution? Some are already here. They're here in their thousands. What can you do?
Deport them, mate. Simple as that.
Stop them coming.
Listen,
We can't keep ourselves. We've got our own people that's homeless. And they're coming out and getting put up in the hotel.
Man, if you fix the inequality, if you redistribute wealth properly, you do that first, and then you blame the immigrants if that's the case. But before, fix your shit, and then blame somebody else for your problems.
Then fuck knows what? You fucking kidding me? I'm for peace. I'm pro immigration. I'm not against immigration, but it needs to be controlled. I'm fed up spending all my money, my tax money, going to all these illegals flooding in, and it's not even that. A lot of them are getting killed on the way, and they're getting exploited and everything. They're coming here and exploiting us. And they're not being peaceful. Don't get me wrong, there's some of them that will be peaceful and be, but it's 95% fighting age men. It makes no sense.
But maybe it's because they are the ones who can't survive that journey. Maybe you have a 2-year-old child, maybe doesn't survive the journey. That's why it's all mainly male and strong ones who can come here, and once they're settled here, they can bring the family over and they can have a life. Maybe that's why. Or do you think they want to take over and conquer your country and make a jihad? What the fuck are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Seriously. You're racist. You're racist. Because immigrant people are people. When somebody does something wrong, we talk about that. I don't care who you are, where you're from. And you know, Flo, that you're not spending your money on the immigrants. You're spending your money to the wealthy people who are the ones keeping your wealth and everybody else's wealth. Not the poor people.
As you know, Glaswegians are a really friendly bunch, but you can't be breaking into a country and then expect to be... Anyway, mate, I don't even want to get into it too much. Yeah.
It's too easy to start spouting. We're not like that, we're not here for that.
Yeah, but at the minute, I feel like everyone's really divided. I feel like if change is going to happen, you have to go to the governments. There's not really much point shouting and screaming in our streets.
That's another topic. The government of this country is a whole different ballgame. I don't want...
But that's not a different ballgame, mate. That's exactly the same. They're the one making the decisions, making the rules, making the laws, doing everything that eventually has the consequence that you're complaining about. So the problem is the government and what they do and how they're making the poor people poorer and how they're keeping the wealthy people wealthier. That's the problem, mate.
Want to get too personal about it, mate. It's just not a good situation.
Yeah, a lot of people I've spoken to today, they don't want to say too much, maybe out of fear of saying something wrong. Different to a couple months ago, where people are saying anything they want. And they had reason to be fearful, as people have been jailed for sharing posts online, while figures like Hugh Edwards are given suspended prison sentences.
This policy, this two-tier policy is really shit.
No, because any comments or anything else is because they're doing that and they are racist, they being xenophobic, and they being disseminating bullshit and lies. So that's why, not just because the opinion per se, it's because what you say, your opinion is like. If you are a xenophobic person, you're lying, you're feeding lies to people, which is poison for society, well, that should be looked at, the least be looked at.
Going. There's not that many people here because most people are scared to come out because they think they're going to get banged up. But yet, the people over there, they know they can get away with murder. Literally. You know, they can do anything. I mean, they've even got their government officials threatening to slash our throats. And did he go straight to prison? No.
Someone's been taken away. I don't know what that's about. Police speaking to him. But yeah, as you can see, Scotland's really divided today. Like, people have told me St George's Square isn't really like this. You don't usually get this many people here. Hey, buddy.
Met you in London.
Hey, nice to meet you, mate. Do you mind saying a few words?
Aye. It's been pretty peaceful so far.
Yeah. As much as, like, I feel like the police presence at town, of course they're here to keep us safe, but it does kind of make it like a pressure cooker when...
It's quite aggressive.
Yeah, it kind of changes the tone a bit. But
what's interesting to note is that all the police seem to be facing this side,
right,
and there's no police watching that side, which is very...
You wonder why, man. You wonder why. You see what people from one side are saying, people from the other side are saying, and their behavior and their attitudes. And you see why the police is looking in one direction and not the other one. You may wonder.
Very, very interesting. I'm not going to say my thoughts on that, but I've got you know, it's very obvious who the police are watching. But this side is very, very peaceful.
Yeah.
I've just came to see with my own eyes, which is what I always do.
Yeah.
That's why I was down in London where I met you.
Right. And today, speaking to the other side, the message has been refugees welcome, and I've kind of said that is dangerous at the minute when they're crossing the channel. What do you think is the solution?
Is dangerous refugees welcome because they're coming through the channel? Well, they're risking their own life. You let them decide, first of all. And it's not risky, it's risky for them. They're taking a risk, but it's not risky, which is not the same. The country can take loads of immigrants because there is loads of jobs, and even more now after Brexit. So you need people to work, you need people to keep up the economy, but no, only for the British people who...
Solution, because despite what people think, these people are risking their lives just going on the waters.
The solution is to stop them at source. France should be stopping them getting on boats in the first place, right?
Maybe we should stop Great Britain from exploiting different countries, the same as North America, the same as many, North America, no, United States, the same like many countries in Europe. What about they don't explode, that they don't get involved into the politics in Asia, in Africa, in South America? Just let them be and see what happens, and see if they come. Just let the economy, let the government be. Your companies get out of it, and let them develop their countries and economies, and see what happens. Let's make it fair. Okay, let's see what happens. Ah, no. But then, you destroy all that, and when they go somewhere else trying to find a better life because you fucked up their country, now you're crying because they come over here. Well, that's what you did, man. That's what you did. And they're reacting to what the big wealthy countries did to their countries.
And once, if they've managed to get on a boat, we should be forcing them back into France. The whole fakery of this asylum seeker, it's economic migrants. Of course they're economic migrants because they're passing through all these safe countries in order to get to us in the first place.
Have to put the Navy in the channel. Got to stop it.
Yeah.
See if there's no other reason for stopping it. Stop it to stop vulnerable people and children drowning on unsafe boats. Boats paid for by gangsters, traffickers.
Just bring them here in the bus then. Leave the boat over there and bring them here in the bus. Ah no, so the problem is that they are coming. You don't give a shit how they come here. If they come on a boat, on a plane, on a car, or whatever. You don't care, you just don't want them here. That's the problem. You are the problem, your racism is the problem. Know that.
Putting people into these boats and sending them into the channel's a treacherous shipping lane. People are dying regularly. That in itself, for humanitarian reasons, that needs stopped.
We can't take any more people into this country. They came on small dinghies, they've thrown their papers and their passports overboard. We don't know where they've come from. They're getting free accommodation, free food, benefit, and we, the normal people of this country, are being left behind.
We need to focus on our homeless first. I don't know if you've seen, but the homeless population in Scotland is one of the biggest out of the world. There's people, every single street you walk down, you'll see 3 or 4 homeless people. It's better to put them in hotels.
Okay.
Than the migrants.
But is there a way also to potentially integrate those people into society? Although
Wait a minute.
Behind.
We need to focus on our homeless first. I don't know if you've seen, but the homeless population in Scotland is one of the biggest out of the world. There's people, every single street you walk down, you'll see 3 or 4 homeless people. It's better to put them in hotels than the migrants.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. It's not one or the other. You can help homeless people in the UK, and you can help the immigrants or the people who are the refugees. That's the thing. You can do both, but you need to make the inequality stop, and you need to make that gap get shorter, and you need to make that to redistribute wealth for everyone in the country. If you can do that, doesn't matter if immigrants come here or not. Poor people is going to be poor people, and going to get poorer and poorer, and homeless people will increase. That's it. That's what's going to happen. It's not about immigrants. It's about how you redistribute the wealth of the country. That's it.
But is there a way also to potentially integrate those people into society? Although people say it's majority men, there are obviously like women and children who do make the crossing. Is there a way to actually integrate people in society?
If they're genuine, absolutely, 100%. Those people will be embraced here. No one should have to live in an oppressed country. And if the only safety they can find is in the UK, then so be it. There's certainly enough wealth in the UK to accommodate.
Bravo, man. Bravo, you're right. That's exactly it. But that's most of the immigrants, man. There's most of immigrants, most of refugees. Of course, there will be someone who is not and who does something wrong, like in every single group of people. But you cannot judge the whole group of people because of that person. And you cannot put them on the same level because of that person. So that's literally what's happening. You're right. There is enough wealth for everyone in the UK. It just needs to be redistributed properly. Again, have a look at the video about the taxation and who pays taxes in the UK, and you will get shocked.
Genuine, decent people that want to integrate and want to respect the culture of this country, and mutually we will respect theirs. Of course we will. We're decent people. That's it. But there's a narrative at play that's twisting everything. And this, you know, these far-right terminologies are getting thrown around like sweets. That's the problem. The narrative's the problem. The media's the problem, because somebody's paying for those headlines. And
Shut up, man. Great.
You can't paint everybody with the same brush. You can't just call everybody right-wing. It's wrong and it needs to stop.
What have you seen specifically in Scotland with illegal immigration? Because it's a country that hasn't really been in the narrative so far.
Well, I don't know about being in the narrative so far, but they're probably in the narrative now if you look around.
Definitely. So what would you say is the main message after today? Because when you have a counter-protest, there's noise from both sides and shouting and screaming. What would you say is the main message?
The main message would be keep up these protests until our governments do something about it. They've got to listen to the people of this country. We are the ones that are paying the tax. So why are we not...
Literally, we are the ones paying the taxes because the wealthy people are not paying taxes. And you're right, you need to get on the streets, you need to make yourself loud, to make yourself heard. Because nobody else, the government is not going to hear you if you're staying at home and just going to the pub and that's it. They're not going to do that. So let's focus on the government, let's focus on the distribution of wealth, let's focus on taxation to the ones who don't pay taxes. And then we'll see what happens after that. But judging before that, I think that's a big mistake.
Being listened to, and when governments do that to people, there's going to be a backlash. And it's already starting.
You mentioned the taxes. I feel like there's a lot of money being spent on foreign aid. Is there a way to kind of please everyone in this scenario?
Stop giving out foreign aid. A lot of people in this country don't want...
Stop giving money to Israel. Stop giving money to Ukraine. Happy days. Happy days. Let's do that and see what happens. Let's do that.
Foreign aid. We're giving it to countries that have space programs. Why? Why are we doing that? We're giving it to South Africa so they can get to net zero. Never going to happen. Never in a million years. But yeah, they're quite happy to do that. But their own people in this country are being taxed up the wazoo because of it.
People in this country know poor people are getting taxed to the wazoo, and all that money that is going to South Africa, whatever places you're saying, they're not going for the poorest people there neither. They're going for the wealthiest people there, and that's staying the wealthiest people. And many of non-governmental organizations, they're just absolutely ridiculous. They just take the money for themselves and pennies from everything invested on them. For those countries or those group of people, Only pennies actually get to the very end. Everything else stays on the way. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
And we can't sustain that because you're going to get people saying, well, what's the point of getting out to work? When I look at my wage slip and it's tax. How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to feed my kids?
She's right.
That's why people are out here. It's so
One of the reasons.
I think that we should be focusing our money on Scotland. See, the thing is, over in the UK, Keir Starmer's just promised £3 billion. £3 billion a year to Ukraine. Don't get me wrong, what's happening in Ukraine isn't right. But you need to give that money to Scottish people and English people, Northern Irish people and Welsh people.
Yeah.
It needs to go to us first.
Right.
That's right. You're right. But at the same time, there is already loads of money that is going to the wealthiest people who are just getting richer and richer and richer, buying more assets when you have nothing to lay on, man. You have no money, you have no a shitty job, shitty pay, houses are way too high, you're not gonna buy anything. That's a problem. That's a problem. How do they redistribute the money? Okay, you're right. Get out billions and billions of pounds to the UK, but make a proper investment. Make the right investment. Make that money work properly for the people in the UK, not for the richest people. And let's see what happens. Maybe we are all on the same level. We are all poor. We all want the same. Survive, have a normal life, not struggle, and provide as much as we can to the society. That's it. We all want the same. But when we are all struggling, we are all up to here, we're not reaching any needs, then is when you start trying to find someone to blame, someone to point your finger at. And normally it's maybe the poorer person who is next to you, because you know that if you go against a rich person, then you're in trouble or you're powerless, and nobody wants that. So that's why people go against the poorest people. But no, guys, we're all in the same shit. We're all poor. We all need to be together in this and ask the right questions and demand the right things to the right people.
After today, a lot of people will be calling this a far-right rally, Nazis, as you've heard. Why do you think most people are here today?
Most people are here to make our country safe.
Yeah.
That's what it is, to make our country safe and not have people come in.
Yeah.
If we want our country to be safe, and we're labelled far-right, Nazis, fucking racist.
Man, the problem is that you're associating insecurity with immigration. That's what makes you a Nazi. A Nazi. That's what makes you a racist. Because that's not true. Give me the numbers. They're not real. They're not real. So it's not the immigrants. Violence is violence. There are violent people everywhere. Everywhere. So the fact that you are associating violence with immigration, that makes you a racist, man. That's the problem. And you're probably a consequence of a narrative that you've been sold. And you bought it. Because you didn't know any better. And I get it. I get it. When people are studying or working, have no time, struggling, trying to get to end meet, and try to manage and survive. You don't want to go and rethink a lot and that kind of thing. So somebody tells you, no, it means taking money. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But no, man, that's not the right analysis. That's not the proper reflection.
Then that's what we are. Because we know that we need to make our country safe. If I am a racist for wanting my country to be safe and wanting people...
No. Wanting the country to be safe and to be better, that's right, that's fair, that's what should be. But thinking that it's not because of the immigrant people, that's the problem. That's where you're wrong, mate. And if you make wrong analysis, then you're going to get a wrong conclusion. And you're not going to have the right outcome. That's the problem.
Checked! You come into my country, then I'm a racist.
I mean, look at it now. It's turned into a bit of a clown show. It's like a concert. But who are the people here today? Like, I don't really like. Yeah, who are they? Would you say?
So some of the people are mostly Celtic fans.
Okay.
Celtic fans have a big sort of Palestinian link, but what they don't understand is people from Palestine have no idea what a Celtic football club is. They don't.
It doesn't matter, mate. Probably Palestinian people don't know who I am, but I will still support them because it's right. Because they've been abused, and I don't stand abusive behavior. I don't understand abusive people. That's the problem. That's the problem. And I don't care if Palestinian people know that they are there or not. They're in Glasgow, they're protesting in favor of the Palestinian people. They're doing the right thing. The British government is sending money to help Israel kill Palestinian people. That's not right. British military people have died because of Israel. They haven't done anything to Israel. That's a problem. That's a problem. So you have to protest here against the government who's supporting them. If Palestine knows or not about the protest, that's not a big deal. That's not the issue. That's not the point. The point is trying to stop this government from sending money to Israel so they can stop killing people.
No!
Innocent people, by the way.
Oh, something's happening. Some guys come onto the other side. Wow. They're all chasing him. They're all chasing him.
Now, by coincidence, one from the Palestinian protest cross over, and all the bloody racists, what are they doing? Chasing after. No, in a violent way. No. They just want to give him a hug. I think it's a hug and £5. I think that was.
Wow.
Look at the police. The police running one of the guys here.
Oh, the police have got someone on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, they're chasing someone. Don't know what's been happening. Someone just came over. Whoa, something's happening. Some guys come onto the other side. Wow.
No, he didn't do anything.
Chasing them.
He didn't do anything.
Wow.
It was just the other side. He was recording, and everybody was chasing him. They wanted to kill him.
Someone came over and antagonized this side. Okay, they're getting the batons out. They're not afraid to use them. Wow. There's loads of people here. Wow.
Those are the ones with balaclava. Those ones are hiding their face, and they are dangerous. Because if you have a mask, at least you're protecting your nose and your mouth. So if you have a cold or anything like that, you're not spreading it, or the other way around. But the balaclava, you have your bloody nose and mouth open, so you have any viruses or anything, you're going to spread it all over the place. But your face is not recognizable. So that's the problem. And that guy, that didn't stress it out. Who are the ones with the balaclava? Who was that guy with the hoodie? That one is also hiding his face. Not the ones with the mask. No, especially. But he never mentioned that.
Stop. Yeah, someone definitely came over to like start something, and that's why they chased that man. That's what I saw. Yeah, the police keeping their distance, controlling the crowd. People calling two-tier policing. After a close call, I managed to find someone else who came over to the other side. This time, they weren't looking for trouble.
I strongly feel that we're all human, and the borders simply need to open because of climate change, wars, famine. And seriously, if we were on the other side, I mean the people who are trying to seek refuge, we would be doing the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's in the parade position that we want to stop the Gaza war. Israel must open its borders for Palestinian refugees. Banner parade supports stopping the Gaza war.
But it's actually refreshing to see that you've actually come over here and tried to make some kind of dialogue with people. I feel like there is a lot of shouting and screaming, and people need to understand where people are coming from.
We should communicate. We should communicate so that we know what people stand for, and you know.
We want to start a conversation. That's all we do.
That's right. And you see the pacifist. That's the thing. You need to talk, because if you actually talk to each other, eventually, if you have, depends on the other person, but if you can have a conversation with arguments, reasoning, with logic, back and forth, you will realize that all those people in the square, they all want the same. They all want the same. They all want to have a good life, safe life. They can progress. They get stable, and they're not afraid. All of them want exactly the same. They want to help people who need help. They all want the same. But as long as they feel that they got that protection, that help first as well, which somehow is fair enough, but you know, if you see someone hungry, you're hungry, you just bought something to eat, man, just share a bit. Just share a bit. It's not gonna harm you. It's the other way around. But that's what happened. If they all talk to each other, they will find out without anger, without those preconceived ideas. Just share to each other's ideas. You will see that they all want the same.
What to do is start a conversation. The left absolutely hate the Scottish people, right? And saying that's racist against the Scots, not the other way about.
Right, but when you say refugees welcome, at the minute, that's quite a dangerous thing to say when they're crossing the channel and they could potentially die.
So help them to come safely. That's it. Help them to come safely. Don't let them come on dinghies. Rather than stopping them, let them die somewhere else.
Well, who would be crossing a channel if they weren't in desperate situations?
Public.
What's the problem, mate? Refugees are not welcome here. Not welcome.
Yeah.
Send them back. Support, not support. But what's going to happen is that these people are coming into our country and they will be used as a whip to further undermine the working conditions of the people in Scotland.
Okay, so the problem are the people who are using them, not them. You're answering your own question. The problem are not the immigrant people, the problem are the ones who are using them, who abuse them, who hire them without a contract. They are the problem. And those are business people, normally are rich people. That's the problem, not the immigrants, not the poorest.
So we've got to convince the left that mass immigration is not good for the Scots, that us being a hated racial minority in 2066, what will diversity be like for us then? Right. Because we're at the end of the queue for everything just now.
But what about those who actually contribute to society and actually pay taxes, work, and are integrated? It's a different story compared to the illegal immigrants, say.
Well, I would argue that they're not integrating. I would argue that they're staying in their own ethnic bubble within our country.
But yeah, so
that's not...
Well, that's just bullshit. Okay, that's bullshit. First of all, because British people are the first one who do that when they go abroad and they live abroad in a non-English speaking country. Secondly, because I'm an immigrant, I've been here 13 years. I don't think there was a single day that I wasn't employed. I don't think so. I've been working all this time. And if I've been unemployed 2 or 3 days, 1 week, it's because of changing job, basically. And I know many people are immigrant. If you go to schools, you go to nurses, you go to hospitals, you go to bars and restaurants and stuff like that, who is working there, man? Who is working there? Who is working in the jobs in farms and stuff like this? Who is working in the jobs that British people don't work, man? Or work less percentage? Who are the ones getting the higher positions on those jobs? All British. And the lower positions, all immigrants. So who's making the decisions for you to be fucked or screwed? That's the British people who are in the government, on the big positions in companies and stuff like that. That's them, not the immigrants. But you blaming the immigrant person. You're blaming someone who comes to you as a refugee who has nothing but their own lives. And you blaming them? Oh man, you might be wrong.
Integrating.
But sure, shouldn't we find a way to do that though?
It can't be done, mate. You only need to look at Sweden, Denmark. What we have to do is start sending people back and sort their countries out so that they want to stay there.
But even to send them back, that's going to come at a cost. It'll be taxpayers' money sending them back. Same as the reason why we're housing them. That's coming out of our pocket.
They all need to go back, sir. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation. They still have to go back.
You know what? With Brexit, I really wanted... At some point, I wanted that to happen so they could see what was going to happen to the country. Fuck that! Look what's happening now! So many jobs that they need to be fulfilled and they're not because there's not enough people. If you send all immigrants away, first, second, third, fourth generation thing you say, what do you think is what's going to happen? How many people are you going to live in the country, man? You're, honestly, man, you're so wrong. You've been lied so much. And you just vote without actually knowing the numbers. You just vote the narrative and that's it. Without really thinking and reflecting of what the consequence is going to be. Well,
Pedophiles is okay.
There's a mix.
She thinks pedophiles are all right. She thinks pedophiles.
But yeah, back to our conversation. Like, yeah, at the minute it is quite dangerous to welcome refugees when they are going on dinghies across the channel. What is the solution?
It's not dangerous to welcome them. They take a danger to come here on the journey. But it's not. It's usually when you say things differently, that means something different, and that can transmit a different message.
The solution is to process fairly who is fleeing persecution, war, famine. Be fair about it, not put them into one group like this gentleman said, well, gentleman man, that they're all rapists. There's probably rapists here. There's, we're in every group of people, there's different kind people, rapists, you name it.
Yeah, but that's an argument to be had once they're in the UK and in England. I'm talking about when they're actually leaving France. It's dangerous for them right now to be crossing, especially we're coming into the winter. The sea is...
Well, think then, why they crossing? Why they taking the risk? Why do you think they're taking the risk to cross if they're so dangerous? Because they have nothing to lose, because they're struggling and they're desperate. So the problem is, okay, these people are desperate, they will do anything and everything. So let's try to help them first. Not blaming them for their situation when it's not their fault.
Isn't going to be calm.
But isn't that proof of how desperate these people are?
Yeah, of course. So
they know the risk. They know they might die.
Yeah.
But still they go for it because of the situation they're in.
Exactly. But when you say refugees welcome, what should be done now? Because they can't keep doing that. People are dying.
As I said, be fair. Basically, have people come, assess their situation, and treat them fairly. That's all.
Because basically this whole crowd is to stop other people speaking. That's the entire purpose of this crowd, is to stop those people speaking. Right? It's good that you're coming over and having that dialogue.
Yeah, I think she has got a fair point though. There should be some open dialogue and understand each other's views. I feel like there are some fair views on both sides, but there are also extremes on both sides as well, according to you guys now.
I mean, have you seen the sign they have at the back? 5G plus chemtrails equals COVID-19. Man, seriously, that's the level of reasoning, of investigation, of research, of analysis. Well, consequences are obvious.
Nazis and racists.
I mean, I support Gaza's myself. Look, free Palestine.
Yeah.
So, she's been escorted back, you see. But she's
because it's not safe being around guys like you, man. Because she's been harassed by those guys. You see those here with the glasses. They were mentioning, they were saying stuff to her, and they were from behind. And I think the police saw it, and he said, "Well, just get away from me. You're not safe among these."
It's fine. So yeah, the police are trying to, make sure no one comes to this side, and they should. I saw earlier some people were chasing someone out. So yeah, I feel like the police have done a.
I haven't seen that happening the other way
the
around.
numbers we've seen today, you see the police horses. You see how vocal people are being. I feel like the beginning of today was quite hostile, but I feel like the police themselves have realised it's not that kind of day out. It has been relatively peaceful, and despite what you hear in the media saying that it's all football fans and thugs that will come out, I think you have to see it for yourself and take it on a city-by-city basis. You saw what happened in Middlesbrough, but I'd say Glasgow's been vocal but very peaceful. And yeah, look at the turnout here today.
Refugees are welcome here!
What's your reason for coming today?
I just want to stand up for what's right, show that the racists, that they're not welcome in our city, that once the people can really come together, we can be a force for good change.
Yeah. What do you think is racist about the other side at the minute?
If you look over there, that's racist. There are Union Jack flags, there are racist chants, there's Union Jack.
No, I wouldn't say the Union Jack. I'm not sure. Nobody doesn't know really the background of that. I wouldn't say that's racist per se. Although I would say that the comments and the reasoning that we've been mentioning in in the video, they're racist. And the logic and the arguments and the way of thinking is racist. As simple as that.
Everything.
Is that racist though, holding up the Union Jack? I mean, that's been a big debate like this past few months.
The reason for this rally was, the reason that the anti-racist rally has been called is because that is a far-right rally convened under the banner of Say No to Refugees. It's racist.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a Union Jack, but they're using the Union Jack to support their right-wing cause.
Right.
And that's a big problem. That's a big problem, and I guess it's been happening here for a while, and that happens in Spain as well with the Spanish flag. Like left-wing people, or in my opinion, decent people, they don't feel identified or represented by the Spanish flag because it's been used and abused and thrown into our face every time the right wing were doing whatever, and they were using and abusing it. And it's actually pretty much the same flag than during the dictatorship. During Franco, I just missing a nickel basically. Maybe more about basically that. So yeah, symbol, which is not meant to be racist or has that sort of meaning, if that gets used by certain part, then you got that's gonna be that. Like for the swastika from the Nazis, well, the actual symbol that was not original from them. But you see that now, and you're gonna think of them straight away. You're not gonna think of Buddhism or anything like that. Well, that's the same problem. That's the use you make of certain symbols they will have a connotation eventually.
It's the way the Union Jack is being used.
The fact that they're actively against the genocide that is happening in Palestine, that they are actively assaulting their own community, storming hostels and hotels that are holding immigrants that are terrified and just want to be safe and have a safe place to raise their children.
Would you say that's mostly in England? What have you seen specifically in Scotland? Has there been any violence like?
Personally, I haven't seen, just like from my experience, but like a lot of the media, and then this today, people are being very aggressive, but it's good they're being driven back. Some of the signs that I've seen from the other side have been abhorrent, basically saying to put people back on the ships, which is absolutely disgusting. Like,
it's ridiculous, the idea that we shouldn't be having people in here. Scotland's population has been in decline as well.
This guy is very good as well. You have a look at him. He's got very clear and right ideas, and anyone who wants to argue whatever he says, I'm here to support what he says and debate you.
Generally, and I would kind of like there to be somebody around to pay for my pension, if nothing else. Like, if even for purely selfish reasons, the anti-immigration stance makes no sense.
I think that we know already in this country that refugees contribute vastly to the economy. That is fact, and we need to get those facts out there to try and counter the racist and intolerant fascist messages that are being put out. I think that in the way refugees are treated just now.
The problem is that the actual facts and information is not shared in the media, and people have been bombarded with the media and misinformation, misled information, and that's what they bought, that's what they think, that's what they believe, and they think they have the right to believe. Well, they have the right to believe whatever they want, but they are not right by believing that. That's the problem.
It's not in the country's best interests or in their best interests. I think that asylum seekers come here and are left to live on £8 a week, and that's for food, for everything. And I think that many of these people have skills that could easily be used.
People who put their entire families on a dinghy to try and cross the channel are doing this out of desperation. No one does this unless they have literally no other option.
But shouldn't that be more of a priority at the minute? Like, coming here, will the government even hear the message that people are saying?
Well,
do protests work?
Stand Up to Racism organised today's demonstration is very proud that it's worked alongside the charity Care for Calais, the PCS, trade union of the Home Office workers, long before the...
Yes, honestly, just have a look at how people from one side communicate, speak, verbalize, the arguments they use, the construction of the sentences, the ideas, the inner hatred. Compare them both, from the one from one side and the other, and you tell me if they are both the same, if they're both equally right to think what they think. I don't know. I will let you go through the video and have a look at that and try to keep an eye on that.
Racist riots came onto the streets to demand safe passage now. For example, the current government is following in the footsteps of previous governments when it talks about stop the boats, the smuggling gangs and so on. Actually, there's a very simple solution to this, which could be implemented tomorrow, which is just open up legal and safe routes.
Even if it wasn't rooted in all of this racism and fascism and hatred, I'd be just going like, purely economically, guys, you should be like wanting as many people in here as you can. Yeah. These guys are looking after our NHS. They're, thank fuck we kind of live in somewhere that's kind of stable and we can live in safety. And everybody should have that right.
Yeah. So. I think there are mixed messages today, but for those who are against specifically illegal immigration, when people come undocumented and they say they're a strain on our economy, what would you say to that?
Let them actually work and pay taxes, and then they'll stop being a strain on the economy.
Is there a way to actually integrate them into society, especially when they're undocumented?
I mean, yeah, just document them. Like the whole idea of an illegal immigrant is ridiculous to begin with, because we live on an island. So you talk about like illegal entries and small boats. We've closed down all of the legal options, so they have to. But we still have a legal obligation to take in asylum seekers. But if the only way that they can get here is by boat, then obviously they have to use an illegal. Like, we've created this fucking.
We don't want to hear any more rhetoric about stop the boat.
Absolutely right.
Safe passage now. Refugees are welcome.
Yeah. With that though, should it also be done on, let's say, a country by country basis, so we ensure that there are people fleeing war?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I think whether people are fleeing war, whether they're fleeing the horrors of climate change and climate chaos, whether they're fleeing, every human being has a right to live in circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, actually fleeing a dangerous.
Worthwhile. We only get one life. Our lives are short. Everybody has a right to seek better life. My family are go back to migrants from Ireland.
We're all immigrants.
We're all children of migrants. So, to be honest with you, I think that no, we shouldn't be trying to, fine tooth comb who we let into the country. Like, migrants and refugees are part of what's built the NHS, what's built all the buildings around this square and everything else in our society. So I just think we should. People should be welcome.
Should it be done on, say, a country-by-country basis? Because we've seen it in Ukraine, you've seen it with Afghan migrants come in. Is there a way to do it on a country-by-country basis?
No, I mean, I would just say open the doors, honestly.
Anyone and everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, you're gonna have far more better people coming in than you will the bad ones, and probably still even fewer bad ones than you'll find already living here.
People don't... That's a good point, very good point. I mentioned that earlier on as well. So basically, if you let people in, and you let people legally stay here, they can work. They can work, they can contribute, and if there is any bad one, they will pay as anybody else will pay who does something wrong. As simple as that. And you will find out that way more people are contributing than actually damaging the society. But in order to do that, you first have to give them the option and the opportunity to start working here legally and without restrictions. And that's not what's happening.
Also argue about the economic strain it could put on society. Would you think that is the case?
Sorry, in what way do you mean the economic strain?
So housing them, there's things like, was it over 80 million a day or something is spent on asylum seekers to house them?
Massively question that statistic, but I would also say that as we saw during the cost of living crisis, there is enough money to go around for everyone.
Exactly, yeah.
But if anything, in fact, the refugee crisis was used as a way from the Tory government to scapegoat people, to say that that was where all the money was going, where we know that's not where the money was going. The money was going into tax cuts, and it was going into making sure that corporate banks and billionaires managed to retain as much money as they could.
Yeah.
Boom! Someone that actually points at the actual problem. Not the scapegoat, but the actual problem. You see how one side spoke and how the other side is speaking. And where they point in the issues. There you go. There you go. Easy arguments, data.
So taken together, as you can see, we're quite divided today. Shouldn't there be a protest just against the government itself to put the funds in the right places? Because I feel like you both share similar views in some senses in that respect.
Oh no. I don't think we share any.
I know, obviously there's extremes on both sides, but some people would.
Well, the interviewer Weasley is actually quite right in that sense that some of the people that he interviewed, and I'm sure that there were many people like that, they were afraid of they not having enough money to survive, the housing issue, salaries, that kind of thing. They were like afraid that immigrants might actually have a detriment in their lives. But that's not the case. That's the problem. That's not the case. So I get his point that some people from both sides of the protest, they were actually looking for the same. The problem is that one of the sides, they're blaming for their problems to the immigrant, and the scapegoat basically, not the real problem. So that's what differentiates them both. All the needs are the same, the goals are pretty much the same. How to get there is different because of the narrative they've been sold. That's the issue.
I argue that funds should be placed properly, whether it's for the Scottish homeless or asylum seekers coming into the country.
I think the whole question of funds, I mean, what we've seen, not just with the previous Tory government, but for a long time, you know, you've seen an economic crash where, you know, the rich essentially were bailed out, the bankers were bailed out who caused the crisis. Ever since then, right across Europe and internationally, we've seen austerity measures, we've seen attacks on living standards, working class people's rights at work, pay and so on. We're experiencing...
So the poorest are paying the consequences of the economic crisis and stuff like that, when the richer people are actually getting richer and richer and richer, and they're paying less and less and less taxes. So that's pissing off the people, because people see the consequence, which is a poorer country, but they don't see the origin of it, which is the richest people are actually getting richer and richer, and the inequality gap is getting wider and wider.
In the longest freeze on pay since the 1870s or something like that, or maybe the 1850s, but yeah, this is an extreme situation. What I think the people on the other side might want to present themselves, the organisers, as people who are, you know, representing the white working class. They don't. I mean, if you look at, for example, people like Tommy Robinson, this is not the class that they represent. They represent, you know, a discontented middle class that's disorientated by what's happened in the crisis. Many people can be pulled in behind those narrow individualistic politics that are about playing the blame game, or we can look to the collective solutions that the working class movement has always offered, that gave us the right to vote, that gave us, you know, the working day, the holidays and all these other things. So I think we need to say, no, actually, you know, as somebody said on the stage earlier today, none of the people that are pushing the far right agenda or the racist division can be seen on any of the struggles about fighting for better housing, the NHS, or any of these things. They're never present in them. They're only present when it's about sowing the seeds of division. The people...
They're only present when it's something against a poorer person, or against immigrants, or against a weaker person. But when there is a movement fighting against the richest people, and against the people who are actually causing all the pain into the country, then the right wing, you won't see them protesting there. You will see them protesting against the poorer people, against the lower class people. That's what they protest against, because that's what they're interested in.
People over there, I will never agree with their version of what is right, never. All I want is I wish them no harm. I just want them to give them the facts and help to change their mind. Yeah. Because too much of this is just propaganda by the far right, and propaganda that's in the interests of the ruling classes across Britain and all other countries. So open your eyes, have a good look, and actually see what's happening here, because we're all being exploited by multinationals, by governments that seek their own ends. There's nobody in George Square.
You see, that woman, against on the Palestinian side, she got it right again. It's the corporations, it's the big companies, those are the ones. And they are more than happy to see us fighting each other, the poor against the poorer. They're more than happy because they just keep benefiting from it. That's simple as that.
They're just now to me that looks particularly affluent. There's nobody...
They're not! There's no one particularly affluent. There's no one with 10 million pounds in that square, in the whole square. And those are the ones, from that amount up, are the ones who are destroying the country. Not the ones who are below that. As simple as that.
In George Square just now, that's arrived in a limo. There's just ordinary people that want a fairer world.
Yeah.
And that's all we're asking for, and you need to stand up and show your support for that.
If you look at the signs around here, if you follow a couple of people, there's great resources on there, like petitions you can sign. Petitions are a great way. Emailing your MP is a great way to do it. It's really easy.
Is it all passive though? Don't we really need to do something like maybe a messenger in Parliament, or you know?
I am a messenger from the Lord, and nobody wants to listen to me. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Well, John the Baptist was crazy as well, yeah. He went to the wilderness and ate locusts and honey.
I feel like the media will twist events like this. They'll say how many were arrested. They'll show someone getting arrested.
Yeah, absolutely there will be. Yeah, no, absolutely there will be. There's clear bias in the media 100%. And you know, a messenger in court would be ideal, brilliant, but you know, if we're talking in realistic terms if you're asking what we can do right now, that's what we can do right now.
And I think she's absolutely right. Because to be fair, if you go to the Lord as speaker, blah, blah, 2 minutes, that's done. But if you flood the streets every single week with hundreds and thousands of people protesting, asking for a fairer country, asking for fair taxation, asking for helping the poorest people, asking to tax and tax the wealth and wealth income. When you have people on the streets every day like that, that cannot be ignored. Neither for the big media, neither for anyone. International media will be focusing on that, and you know what's going to happen? They will have to do something about it. Otherwise, nothing will get done about it.
What everyone can do right now is educate yourself, sign petitions, show up to protests, show your face, like vote with your feet sort of thing, and then hope that, you know, all of this sparks some change.
And that kind of goes back to racism as well. Like, I've experienced racism myself back in the day, but you know, silencing racism doesn't change their point of view. Should we not be teaching people about, you know, different cultures?
That's one more longer term solution. Greater investment.
So just one side. She was talking, the first person was talking about basically short-term solution, which is more like a direct one. And then the other one that they was mentioning was about education. Well, I'm an educator. I work with children. And I think that's crucial. And my parents were both teachers, and I think that's fundamental. But one thing doesn't change the other. So long-term solutions are also needed, and are also needed to be put in place. But it doesn't mean that short-term solutions shouldn't be in place as well. You should combine them both and make them both work together, and then within some time, you will actually see the results much quicker. But one thing, they're not excluded. One thing does not exclude the other one.
Education system's been gutted by austerity in our communities. So many of our youth centres and whatnot have been shut down, which means that you've got a lot of young people who have seen their communities being stripped away by austerity.
And they don't see future. They don't see a way out. They see people with full-time jobs struggling. So what are they gonna think? Well, once I'm here, I'm going to just fuck everything up, and I don't care. They can do anything to me. No, nothing's going to happen. What's going to happen? I'm going to get to prison. I have nothing to do anyway. I have no hopes in my life. That's the problem. That's what you can cause with this kind of situation in the country.
But then, that's a fertile breeding ground for far right. So if you reverse austerity, bring back activities, bring back groups, bring back proper education and high-paying jobs.
Enough support in schools, enough teachers, enough pupil assistants, enough psychologists, enough loads of things that are actually much needed.
Bring back groups, bring back proper education and high-paying jobs. The far right won't be able to reach as many people because it is mainly built out of that fear of losing your community. But it's not refugees that are destroying communities, it's the government and its austerity.
100%.
This rally usually gets tarnished as a far-right rally. How have you found today?
Not bad, man. Just two-tier Kia again with the police.
And this is now the other side. The side that was supposedly racist and against immigrants. And now let's listen to their arguments. Again, the first one he just shouted, he just said, he just said whatever slogan he heard. Oh, here's some policing, blah, blah. Seriously. Is that what you have to say from the problems that Great Britain is facing?
try to demoralise the people who are actually from this country, and we're bringing people in for no reason, you know what I mean? And you know, there's good homeless people that are suit, man. Lived here all our life. Don't go on.
Man, again, there is money for everyone. That's the point. There is money for everyone. You've been manipulated to think that either you get help or immigrants get help. That's not how it works, man. First of all, immigrants mainly contribute, well, maybe not. Immigrants contribute to the country more than they cost. Period. There is no question about that. There is no question. That there are some that do not behave properly. Happy days, of course, that's the case, as there are native British people who do not behave. So let's deal with the people who do not behave and don't get everyone involved just because you're immigrant. There is an immigrant who doesn't behave, then all the immigrants do not behave. We need to get rid of them. What is that thinking, man? What is that mentality? That's the problem. That's a big problem.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been homeless for 3 years and I can't get a house. Now, I'm in a hotel and the government can't house me. You know what I mean? And I've lived in Scotland for 33 years.
Yeah. Is it fair though to say like it's either the homeless people or the asylum seekers? Isn't there a way to help everyone?
No, that's not fair. But what I will say is, if you want to come into this country, come in the right way, not the wrong way.
If you, I think that's wrong. If you live in this country, you do the right thing and live in the right way. But if you come here illegally, but then you work like the first one and you contribute like anybody else, does it really matter how you came? Or is it more about what you do once you're here? So, if it is what you do once you're here, what's the difference between someone who's an immigrant or someone who was born here? If you were here and you do fuck all for the country, you're basically a problem for the country. Are you not as much as a problem as an immigrant who is not contributing to the country? Doesn't matter how many years you've been here for. If the problem is that you don't contribute. It's not about where you come from. It's not about your origin. It's about what you do for the country, man. And it doesn't look you're contributing too much. No, that, to be honest. Although, I will give you help, I will get you psychologists, I will provide you housing, we'll see, because to be fair, if that's, then everyone would like to be in that situation to get a house for free. Or it would be easier. But anyway, there should be housing to provide for people who are in need and who are in the streets. You should not let, well, he's on the street, he's in a hotel. But anyone who's in need should get help by the government. And if you don't get help, you don't blame the poor immigrant person. You blame the government who's not providing for you.
What would you like to see specifically? Is it mainly the homeless situation in Scotland and Britain?
These MPs and government officials have to take a pay cut. Yeah. So they do.
For example?
Because the cost of living is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nobody can. There's times I struggle to even eat. And it's just getting beyond the joke now. Scotland has let the most people in out of any country, right? And now we're suffering for it, our own people.
You're not suffering, man. You're actually benefiting from it. If there were no so many immigrants who are working, who are providing, as I said, been here for loads and loads of years, who would pay for your house, man? You know how many of us are here, and you know how much we provide for the country. Who would educate your children or look after you in the hospital? In the case, hopefully not, you need that. Well, you look at the people and what they do, know the origin or anything like that.
Can't get a house. I can't get a house for 3 years. I have been homeless for 3 years, and I was born in this country. I am not saying that doesn't give somebody else the right to come in and get a house, but do it the right way. Give the people that need the homes first. You know what I mean? We provided our structure, we provided work, everything. I don't mind somebody coming in from another country and building up their shop, building up their life, their virtue, and having a business and having a life in this country. But you come over here and you abide by our laws, our rules, and our, well, not not religion, but our rules and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? You've got to abide by it. Because if you don't, then no.
Yeah, integrate them into society. But is there a way to do?
I would like to do that as well with the British people living in Spain. If you don't speak Spanish, you go back to Great Britain. Answer that. See what happens. Okay? I know. All right. So, yes, I agree that everyone who can't go to any other country, it should behave, it should be respectful, and should be like a normal citizen. Of course. But there will be always people who do not do that. And you cannot villainize the whole group of people just because some people do not behave properly. That's simple.
Do that though, they're undocumented, like there's a huge backlog of asylum seekers at the minute. Is there a way to actually, you know, involve them in our society and culture?
There is, but in a way.
Yes, give them papers, give them a job, help them with the language. Language is a huge barrier. Help them with the language, help them with the papers and the job, and they will be more than happy to work here and to provide for the country.
Where we've got to do it in a safer way, if you know what I mean, because these hostels and these places are putting posters and pictures up saying, do not touch kids, do not touch another person's kid without the parents' consent. Why should we be saying that to them if they should already know what our laws are? So,
well, I'm sorry, but when you first go to a country, you might need to be taught certain laws. And don't touch a kid, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you've seen those signs in media. You're generalizing that they behave like all immigrants behave in a way that they need to be managed because they're going to be rapists, so they have to be told not to do that. Well, man, that's not the case. You're just buying a narrative that criminalize immigration and put them in a bad light.
no, we shouldn't have to put posters up saying, do not touch kids. And these are in every single hotel you go into. And I live in one of those hotels. And I can say that for the fact that that's there.
As you can see, most of the cars have dispersed and there was a big turnout today. You saw the amount of police presence and I think it was needed after the recent protest. We heard from both sides and let Glasgow have its say. But yeah, I guess it's for you to decide what side you stand on or what message should be sent. I think a lot of people were talking about the government and I think it is up to them to kind of do something about the issues that were spoken about. Yeah. This was Glasgow. I'll see you for the next one.
Thank you. So there you go, guys. I think that's no single problem. You can see it's in Ireland as well. There is another video. I may make another one about that. I don't know because it's pretty much the same. Like I already watched that, and it's basically they talk about the same. They talk about immigration. They talk about that they're poor and they're giving something to poorer people, rather than actually pointing at the government and who's not paying taxes and how distributing the wealth overall. So it's good. It's good debate. I think people should be aware of all these issues and people should be aware of the real problems and aim to the real problems and not facing and confronting each other, because most of these people, if not the whole amount of people that were in George Square in Glasgow, sorry, to be fair, they could all have been protested for the same thing and towards the same solution, because they would all benefit the same. So it's not the immigration, it's where the money is going, it's just who paying taxes, how to distribute that money, and and finance and fund properly the education and NHS and everything. And they're not doing that to push it towards private, so the private companies can get more money. So let's reflect about that, and I hope we'll see you in my next video, and you can go and check my video about the taxes with Gary Stevenson, sorry. With Gary Stevenson. There you go, from Gary's Economics. That's it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.